We're going to head over to Chip Shush Up. We're going to head over to live on Facebook, and it'll take a moment because I have to add it to my timeline. I'm walking people through the steps who are listening so they don't think I'm not here. So it just takes a moment and we see if it cooperates. It plays its games. It's doing that spinning piece of crap wheel again. And it looks like it may be cooperating. Hell gigs is what we're Hell gigs. Hanging with Langan. All right. And then what we are going to do now is post this on my Facebook. We're going to go live. Supposedly, they say once I put this there, we're going to go live anyway. You can always retitle it once it has aired. And once we are there, I am going to share it to my group page. I love the instantaneous, how instantaneous this all works. It all just comes together, but not really.
Sometimes.
I see us. You should just be able to
see us too.
Hit a stupid smelly button and we should be able to go Zoom and live. So I am going to start a watch party on Hanging with Langan. I don't know how I do my own watch party while I'm doing this, but hey folks, here we go. Here we go. All right. Support the show. I'm now whoring myself out because you have to. What am I going to do? Harris is like, now she's
been that though. It's always been that.
Always.
It's just a different dance.
So funny. All right. So let's get this. Who took Mo Langan as a name? That's not right. That ain't right. All right. So I believe that we are live on the .com. Uh-oh. Oh my God, I'm hearing.
What are you gonna do? What am I gonna do? Leanne, looking beautiful as ever.
Oh, honey, thank you. Thank you so much. How do you get that pristine white background? Where are you? Are you in heaven?
No, I'm in my living room.
All right, something's wrong here.
Yeah, and I'm by my window.
Does anybody have their camera on?
If
you have your camera on, turn it off. Anybody have their camera on? Off it goes.
What they might have is their Facebook page on this on, and if that's the case, you have to close that window.
Yeah, no, I don't.
So you're not getting that double sound. Yeah, my sound is off on all my devices.
Wow, what was that? Something just happened.
I farted.
Was that you, Harris?
No.
What?
I hear the echo. Let me close.
All right, you guys,
it's not
you know
me.
what?
It's not me.
This is insane, you guys. Okay, are we all now as one? Somebody talk to me.
Oh, hey, Maureen.
Hey, Maureen.
Hey, Maureen.
I love technology. We're not.
And I know that you don't. It's such a struggle.
Well, I love all of you, but until this is a night.
It's such a struggle.
It is a struggle.
I hear that. What is that echo?
I don't know. You guys.
Yeah, I hear it now.
Do you have any of your Facebook? You shared it to your Facebook pages. Are any of your Facebook pages still open?
No, everything is good. We're good. I hope we're going live. We should be going live. I'll double check. This is just
we're live.
We're live. Hey, hey, you guys, welcome to Hanging with Langan. I love technology. Let me introduce you to my friends. We call this Hell Gigs on Friday. Let's go to the lovely Leanne Lord. Ladies first. Leanne Lord, an accomplished comic. I want to tell the story about the first time I saw her, and it inspired me to do stand-up. Leanne Lord, everybody. Nobody's clapping but me.
Hey. I'm holding my phone. I can't clap.
We do the best we can.
He's been a shoe sniffer for years.
Yeah.
He's insane. I've worked with him a number of times. I love this guy, Harris Stanton, everybody. Harris Stanton.
Harris Stanton, everybody.
I just do this.
And then my buddy, he and I have known each other. We began together. We've written together. He's written for the Friars Roast. He's written pilots. Good things always happen for him. Chip Ambrosio, everybody.
Hey, guys.
I'm going to change your name to Chip. It says Leanne Lord, and I don't know why.
I saw that. It's like, wow.
Everybody
is that my inner me?
I guess so. Double billing. It's nice.
What I'm going to say to you guys, okay, so you're all here. We've all had hell gigs. Who hasn't? But I find that people like being a fly on the wall and hearing our stories. So I want to set up, Leanne, though, how I know you, because when I was
Please.
a journalist at Bloomberg and I would go and watch stand-up, I would go over to Stand Up New York and I would watch you. And I just loved your stage presence. I loved your smarts. And I loved how your father would always be there supporting you. And I was just so moved by that. And God rest his soul, I know you lost him not that long ago.
Yeah.
I saw this, your father would go with you to the clubs. This is not a hell gig. This is a wonderful gig. And that would just inspire me to watch that. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, no, my dad, man, he's such a Renaissance dude. I used to call him, a king masquerading as a civil servant, because he was so young at heart and he was so supportive and enthusiastic about what I was doing. He really inspired me. So he loved coming out to the clubs. Anybody that was, gigging around that time like you or hanging out with me, everybody knew my dad. Like my dad could breeze into Caroline's and security knew him. They were like, "Good evening, sir. How are you?" And he was just in. It was great to have all that love and support. And what was really wonderful is that it wasn't just for me. He had that for all the comics because he had this weird philosophy that the more love you give away, the more you get. He did not have a scarcity mentality. So he had that love and support for me and other comics that I worked with.
What a beautiful dad to have. You're a very, very fortunate person. I know it's got to be a huge loss without him, Leanne.
Huge loss, but a wonderful foundation to launch into the world with.
Well, I think you carry him with you. I watch how you carry yourself, how you treat people, and you certainly embody that. So hooray for your dad. Now, Chipper, you and I started together way back at Stand Up New York. I know we have worked many a hell gig. What stands out to you most about one of your hell gigs?
Usually hell gigs start when somebody says, "Can you do me a favor?"
Yes.
That way.
Yes.
Hey, can you do me a favor? And it was my best man in the wedding. And he said, "My brother is running for selectman and he wants you to do a roast." And they were going to roast this guy who was a coach in town, but he was also a cop and a fireman, right? So I said, "Do you want me to roast him? You need to give me some stuff on him, and it just can't be me. It has to be other people."
Yeah.
Because nobody wants somebody they don't know coming in making fun of their friends. They want everybody to be there. So needless to say, I never get any information. Like 2 days before, somebody drives by my house. It was like a drive-by, and they had like some stuff written on a piece of paper, and it was around the rock. It was on my front door. So I opened it up. I said, "I need a lectern, and I need the other people there." And I brought a comic with me to open up just in case. So I get there, no lectern, no one else is roasting him, 350 drunken cops and firemen. And I bring a guy to do some time in front of me.
Yeah, that's always fun. Go ahead.
Yeah, he was supposed to do 20 minutes. He got up, he did 3 minutes, and he got off because they were so drunk and yelling. And I went, and the only thing I did learn, because I had been doing it about 6 years at that time, was get your money first. So I said, put the money in my hand. So he put the money in my hand. I went up. I started to try to do the roast. They're all drunk. And it's just going horribly. And the one thing I remember is there was one guy so drunk and he's screaming in my face, "Call 911 because you're killing me." And I was like, it's pretty bad when the audience has a better line than you do.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Those are awful. Those suck. I just want to let you guys know, too, I'm going to get to Harris now. Tell me, you and I worked together at the Borgata in Atlantic City.
Yeah. Nice.
I usually like to isolate from other comics when I'm working. I had so much freaking fun with you that I even offered to drive your car back to the city with the three of us driving back. That was such a riot. We were Dean, right? We were with Dean.
Yeah, yes.
Dean Edwards.
It was fun. And it was fun with you after the show when we was at the bar. And I had already been drinking, and you had just started, and I couldn't hang. I was like, I can't hang with Maureen. I got to go. But I had already been drinking, so.
You were pretty lit.
I wish I hadn't been, so we could have chatted longer. But after the first wine, I was done.
Well, we actually hung out for the rest of the week. I don't know if you remember or if you were drunk the entire week, but we spent a lot of time together. We had dinner, we had lunch, we talked, I don't know if you remember that. We were there the entire week together.
Yes, yes.
Of course you remember. I'm joking with you.
But it does blur together, all these gigs and stuff. But I don't work with you that often, so that was pretty.
We had a blast there. But he, you know, you were in that car accident with Tracy Morgan. And I'm glad you're okay. And then I'm not going to say any details, but he did say he got a settlement. And I'm like, and I've been buying the wine. Get me the good shit and get it for me right now. You're like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I want.
And what was the good shit? I forgot.
Whatever I ordered. Believe me, if I ordered it was good. Believe me, if I ordered it, it was good. Who knows? It's Atlantic City. You can get like
it was
Swill
good
and
though.
it's $25. All right, so we're gonna get to the worst of the worst with my friends Harris Stanton, Chip Ambrosio, Leanne Lord, of course, the best of the best. I do like two commercial breaks during the show. This is my bell. This is my commercial break. It's insane, and I let people just so people know what's coming.
Why do you have a bell?
Because I have to do a commercial break in my Rhoda outfit.
You bought that specifically for this show?
No, my Sicilian had it downstairs. His mother gave it to him. I go, what's that? That'd be a great bell from my commercial break. So if you guys
know what that looks like? That looks like a convent bell, because I have one.
Could be.
I went to Catholic school.
Wow. Well, we found out she's Jewish and never told him, but he went to Catholic school. That's something. His mother never told him.
Chip, do you have a bell?
I don't have a bell. I went to Catholic school and I don't have a bell.
I guess it's a woman thing.
Yeah, it's a chick thing. We all carry bells.
Gender bias for us.
So I just want people to know that if you want to support the show, I bring the show Monday through Friday here at 3 o'clock Eastern. Monday, I have Jessica Pearson. Tuesday, Bobby Collins. The following week, I'll have Kelly Carlin will be with me, the daughter of George. You folks have been lovely. The show is being sponsored today by Bitten by a Zebra, a graphic artist company and a photographer, a great guy. But you can go to PayPal at molangan@gmail.com and Venmo at molangan. And don't make me hate you. You can get those on my website, Maureen Langan. Okay, back to the show. All right, so, all right, I want to know, Leanne, what was your worst gig?
This is hard because I've spent a lot of money in therapy to forget these things. And so, no, I really have. I really try to focus on the positive, because otherwise I wouldn't continue doing this. But one that comes to mind years ago, and again, Chip, you're so right. You know, hey, can you do me a favor? Never goes well, ever. But I know that now. You know, now I know the gentle art of saying no. But someone asked me to do a show called Comic Relief for Kids. Because, you know, the comic relief shows were big back then. And because, it was still the 90s. And I go and I realized, again, the art of asking more questions about the gig. Because I assumed it was an adult show, you know, adults supporting and raising money for children. It was for kids.
And they didn't say anything before.
No.
Wow.
No. I get there and it's not just me. I was not the only comic there, but I can't even remember who was there because I was so traumatized. And we're all there, and people would hire me for stuff because, oh, you're clean. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm cerebral. I got nothing for an 8-year-old. What are we doing? And, you know, comics are going up. We're dying. And in the middle of all of this, it's a room full of kids. They decide to say, hey, let's serve the Happy Meals. So now they're already not paying attention. Now there are Happy Meals. Like, what? And I'm not necessarily proud of this, but back then I used to do song parodies.
Hey.
And I had a Janet Jackson one.
Good.
Okay. Oh my word.
You
and I'm like, what else am I gonna do for these kids?
Exactly. You gotta do whatever.
I literally had my tap dance, my song and dance, If I Was Your Girl, Janet Jackson. And I got done and I just wanted to go home and fill out my law school application. And this little girl comes up to me, she hugs me and she goes, can you do it again?
Aww.
Get out of here, you little germ spreader.
Oh, that's sweet though, right?
It was.
Yeah. Did you do it again?
Okay. No.
Because
What about,
then you start feeling like a court jester with the, hey, do that again, clown.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's not, no.
Hey,
I hate when
everybody.
people make you feel like that. I hate when people make you feel like, as comics, I'm sure all of you have felt like that before when someone asks you something and you almost like, I'm not a jester.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like, where in my job description does it say clown? Do I have a clown
Yeah.
nose on? I'm not. And even then, clowning is actually a profession.
yes,
Yeah.
you need a
Do
car.
that thing you do with your thing. Shut up.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what about you, Harris? What was one of your nightmare gigs?
I've had a whole bunch of them.
Oh, I bet you have.
Yeah.
I had one, well, obviously I had several at the strip club, but one of those went very well. And the second one was with Will Silver.
Wait, what? You're joking. Back up. Strip club?
He ain't.
What?
You never did a show at a strip club?
Have I?
You ain't
Why
living.
didn't- Well, I would love to. I mean, I'm sorry I've been missing out. What happened? Tell me about the strip club one.
Well, it was me and Will Savance. We went out to Jersey, and when we get there, it's the action is going. Like, I don't even think they know there's supposed to be a comedy show. I mean, there's asses and people putting money, and it's full-blown strip club night. And I'm looking around like, yo, what? And he said, you guys go on in 15 minutes. And then the DJ goes, hey, we're gonna have a comedy show in about 30 minutes. Get ready for the comedy show. I'm like, they don't care. So we get on stage, I get on stage first, and I'm bombing. And the strippers stop stripping. They literally sit down with the dudes that are in there with the money all in their titties and in their legs and whatever. And they're watching me bomb. And in the middle of the bomb, the DJ comes on stage. And as I see him come, what the fuck is he doing? So he comes on and he goes, hey man, y'all just give this guy a chance, you know that thing.
Yeah, like the pity, yeah. That's called a pity fuck at a strip club.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. So I was kind of still new at the time. So I said, well, Will's very funny. Will's
hysterical.
We both bombed. It was horrible.
Well, you can't stop a strip show and say, hey, now we have the circus clowns. I was doing Go ahead.
I did a situation just like that with John Lasseter. It went great. It was actually a pretty good gig. And I got a lap dance after my set.
Well, see, there you go. Win-win. Win-win, Harris.
And the other one, I just want to get the fuck out of there.
Right.
But this one,
no matter what.
I mingled.
You mingled.
After.
You mingled.
Yeah.
Now, do you still have a shoe fetish, or is that not something you talk about publicly?
It's not really a shoe fetish. It's a foot fetish. But I like shoes on the foot.
Oh, okay.
I like them both.
Right.
But they have to be together. I don't just want a random shoe.
No.
I need to know the foot it came out of.
You're insane.
I need to know the sweat that I'm getting.
You got to know that. Right. A little creepy, but you like it that way. You got to know. You got to know what's attached. This is how he's talking to me. We're in Atlantic City. The whole time he's like, I like shoes. I like feet. I'm like, all right. Can we just get wine? But, when people think comedy works anywhere, that's what cracks me up. So you'll be.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
They just think they'll put, where was it? It was New Year's Eve.
It's the lack of respect for what we do. That's why they think that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get it. Well, they also
don't get
want
it.
and
They
they
think
want to
it's
have
easy. You can make people laugh anywhere. You're a clown. Yeah, you get that.
Yeah, no, it's not
I hate
good.
that too.
When I was at a New Year's Eve gig, and of course, I'm not going to go out for New Year's Eve unless it pays, because you got lunatics out there left and right. So they had me at this place, family, big event, a lot of people going to be there. I get there. It's a big Italian restaurant. It's about 11 o'clock, and they stop all, the disco ball, and everybody's dancing, and they're like, okay, everybody, they're into it. They're 3-4 drinks deep. We're going to have Maureen Langan now do comedy. In the middle of the dance, they just stop. You could hear, bing. It was like in a film when they just stop everything around, and I'm there, like, it's the worst. And then you got to walk with your head down, even though you could do a better job. And you're like, oh my God, just give me the money and get away from me.
And those New Year's Eve shows can work
right
if you
after.
start them. They can work if you start them earlier. Like you build up to it the same way you book a show, and you build by energy, perhaps, if that's your model. You do comedy first, then we have the music and dancing, then we have the debauchery of the ball drop. Like, whatever.
New Year's Eve sucks.
It really does. And I'm with you. I kind of stopped doing it because it's like, you really have to pay me, because that should be the big money now.
Right.
It really should.
Totally.
Right. But
And
the
I've
worst,
done
theater.
2 shows in the backyard of somebody's backyard.
oh,
For New
wow.
Year's Eve?
No, not New Year's Eve, just a random gig.
Oh yeah,
And
no.
she
Yeah,
was-
I did a rooftop show. I mean, people just put us any old place.
Yeah,
The worst are the private gigs, right? Because you never know what you're walking in on, right?
You
right.
never do.
Right.
I remember kind of like you, Maureen, talking about your New Year's Eve gig. It was a guy's 50th birthday party, and it was booked through somebody that we all know, but it was through this new booker, he said, right? So I'm waiting outside. It's pouring rain. It's in Long Island. And they're like, she doesn't want you to go in because it's a surprise. And I'm like, well, who the fuck knows who I am? Nobody at the party knows who I am, right? So I'm in there. I go in, and the guy was in the karting industry, and that's all I got to say. And so it was his 50th birthday party.
Oh.
So we're there. Everybody's mingling around, and the booker goes, "Did you bring a microphone?" I'm like, "Well, did you tell me to bring a microphone?"
Yeah.
Tell me. They always do that. And she goes, "Well, just talk loud." So it was the same thing. Everybody's, mingling around, and they go, "Oh, we have a comedian." And then you have to try to like herd cats, and I'm trying to do 45 minutes, and I'm taping it, and it's just brutal. And the guy is
Was the
sitting.
money good?
Huh?
Was the money good? At
Probably,
least?
Well,
probably
it was
not.
good initially, but there was something that happened after the gig. So he goes, screaming from the front row, "I told you I didn't want this. I told you I didn't want this." To his wife. Well, I'm trying to
Oh,
do the gig. And then at the end, I was at 40 minutes, and he goes, "I want my cake. I want my cake. I want my cake." So I got off at 43. She pays me. I go out, and I get a call from the guy that booked me, and he said, they talked to the wait staff, and they said that they didn't hear a lot of laughs. I always like how they talk to the wait staff. And I'm like, well, I looked at the silverware, and it was
Yeah.
spotty. I didn't say anything. But the thing is, then they want you to give money back. You went through that hell, and they want you to give them money back.
Yeah, no, that ain't
They
happening.
wanted you to give you
That's not
the
happening.
money
They wanted to
back.
give, like-
That's not happening.
And I said, I'm not going to give them money back. And then they're like, "Oh, you're going to ruin your relationship with that booker." Okay.
We
Yeah.
good.
It doesn't tell me to bring a microphone, can't introduce me, or whatever. I think,
I had a
Yeah.
booker say to me, how about this?
I get you.
I had a booker call me from Pennsylvania on the border of New Jersey years ago. And I was, maybe 5 years into it. And he says, "Maureen, I need you to come, would you come out and open for me? MC the show," which is the lowest paying spot for those of you who don't know. And it's usually the newbie spot if you're pretty green as a comic, which is unfortunate because in the UK, it's the opposite. We're really strong headliners, and they set a tone and they get people moving, and they're equally as strong as, or if not more so than the headliners. So I said, "Well, listen, I'd love to do the gig, but I can't drive, a couple hours or 3 hours and not have a room to stay." He goes, "All right, well then I'm going to have to get another MC. I'll have to get an MC." Meaning he doesn't want me. He has to get somebody I'll have to get somebody who doesn't need a room. I said, "Oh, okay." So I'm thinking he can't book me because he has to get somebody who doesn't need a room. So I get a call. It's a Saturday night gig. Sunday morning, I get a call. "Where the F were you?" I go, "What are you talking about? You guys have all worked with me. I'm like so professional. If I'm not there, there's something wrong." And I said, "Well, you said you had to get somebody who didn't need a room." "Yeah, so you could have it. You will never, ever, ever work the Lehigh Valley again." I go, "Please don't do that to me. Not the Lehigh Valley. Please, not the Lehigh Valley. Not the He said, "I will never work the Lehigh Valley." And I don't think I have.
What have you?
Told. I don't believe I have.
Wow.
You were blackballed from Lehigh Valley.
I know.
Burn that bridge, Maureen.
So wait.
So what was that? The
There was
Lackawanna
there was no
Bridge?
confirmation phone call. There was no confirmation
Nothing.
email
Right,
from the
that's
booker.
right. That's right.
There was some balls dropped here, and they were
Uh-huh.
his.
Yeah. I don't want his balls
Well-
dropping anywhere near me.
I would have rather slept on the street in San Antonio than sleep in the hotel they had booked for me. At LOL, I think it was, and I think they were using the hotel for both of the clubs that were in there. And I've heard they had. Leanne, did you see this on Showtime when comedians were talking about like I guess hell gigs or bad hotels? And this one was actually in the show. I think it was Tig Notaro said something about the San Antonio hotel. It was horrible. It had mold, roaches, and an old leather couch that had a bedspread over it
Oh,
because it had cracked, like it'd been there for like years, I guess, and it cracked. It was horrible. I had to sleep with my suitcase, clothes, and
Yep.
it was,
I've done that.
horrible. And but the club was nice. I'm like, how you have a nice club, great shows, and then put me up in this fucking
That tells you
cesspool
everything
petri dish.
you need to know about what they
Yeah.
think about talent.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's everything
Exactly.
you need to know. I've slept
And
in my
not to
car.
mention the comedian from the other comedy club in the town just happened to walk in the door in the middle of the night. I didn't know he was coming. He didn't know I was there. It was weird.
It's so
Wow.
All right.
Wow. I've
My shirt
left
off.
places that people put me up in, and I'm like, no, this is unacceptable. I can't do this.
I stayed at a really nice place in Cape Cod last June, and it was
Is there
it's
any
a
bad
beautiful looking
places in Cape
place.
Cod?
Huh?
Is there any bad places in Cape Cod?
Well, this place looks pretty. It's called Seacrest. Shout out to the Seacrest bed bugs. Bed bugs.
Oh my
Went
God.
went up to the manager. I go, I think I need to change. I said, I have little things here. She goes, go to the emergency center. I go, well, I'm up in Cape Cod. I have the day off. I have, this is insane. So I had to spend the whole day at the thing. The doctor says, it looks like that. You'll only know as if it starts showing up all over my body. So I reached out to them. They're a huge corporation. They would not reimburse me 1 penny for anything. So, hey folks, never go to the Seacrest on Cape Cod. How about that?
Wow.
Wow.
Beautiful place,
I
people
remember-
having weddings. And, I asked them to cover, I think, $2,000 because of my car. I had to extend the car rental. I had to stay at a friend's house. I had to put everything in bags. I had to throw things out. I had to throw out my t-shirts I sell. I think that's nothing, not a penny. They said, take it to court. This is the nice high-end people at the
Wow,
Seacrest
yes.
on Cape Cod.
I
have it
say
all.
all the time, you only have the rights that you can afford to pursue.
Isn't
And just
that
because
true?
you're right doesn't mean that you're going to be compensated or get justice. That's kind of,
I have
it's sad, but
photos,
that's how it works.
documentation. I took photos of everything. So I have it. So anyway, Seacrest, you suck, you rot. That's it. Thank you, Maureen Leggett.
I remember doing a horrible gig someplace on the border of Canada. And the one thing I remember is we're doing the gig, and behind the bar there was a picture of Emmanuel Lewis from Webster, and apparently he grew up in that area, which I didn't know. So we were making fun of the picture, and they were so upset by that we were making fun of the local celebrity. And then at the end, we went and had a drink with them at the bar, and we were supposed to stay at a place called the Port Motel. And we said, well, we're going to the Port Motel. And they go, where are you going next? They said, Buffalo. He goes, just go to Buffalo. Don't go to the Port Motel. So we go to the Port Motel. There were guys like cooking outside of our room, playing a banjo, and it was like Deliverance with a coffee maker. I mean, we were there, and we go into the place, and the comic that I was with couldn't find the remote, so they called the front desk, and the guy comes in and starts accusing us of stealing the remote, because that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to drive to Canada to take the remote.
To steal a
And it was
remote.
just a disgusting room. And like you said, we ended up sleeping in the car because we were not going to sleep in that.
You slept in the for a guy comic to
winter?
sleep in a car, it's bad. For
Yeah.
guy comics to sleep in a car, you guys, that's the bar. Oh,
Hopefully it wasn't
was-
winter.
Yeah.
There was a club, and money well spent in therapy to forget stuff. It was a club in
Nice to bring it back.
Ohio. No, there was a club in Ohio, and I was featuring, and they put the comics in the back of the comedy club. Like it was behind the restaurant, behind the club, and the way it was situated when they were done for the night, we did our shows for the night. They had to lock us in. There was no way. There was no other entrance. You went to the back of the club, back of the restaurant, back of the kitchen, and yeah, here's where you're staying, you guys. And click, good night.
That is some scary crap.
And I'm lucky that my headliner wasn't a psycho, which is always a worry, as a woman.
I don't do condos
and
with
honestly,
other guys.
I think guys should be worried too, because you think you're strong till you're not. I'm just saying.
Mixed martial artist here. Okay, sorry, another commercial. Sorry. Hi, this is Maureen Langan of Hanging with Langan with my fine friends here, Harris Stanton, Leanne Lord, and Chip Ambrosio. I bring these shows to you Monday through Friday, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Monday, Jessica Pearson. Tuesday, Bobby Collins. The following week, Kelly, we're going to have Kelly Carlin. Also going to do some wine and comedy with my friends Bernadette Pauly and Al Ducharme on Wednesday. We're going to have Wine Wednesday with the wine expert. But if you want to support the show, please do. PayPal, molangan@gmail.com, Venmo @molangan, or go to my website, maureenlangan.com, for this handy dandy unisex, whatever, intersex, whatever kind of sex you are, it'll fit you. All right, anyway, that commercial break brought to you by me. All right, so back to the show, back to our schedule and whatever. You know what's interesting too, though? People, a lot of people will ask you to work for free who actually have money. I did an event for the Kennedys, and like they liked me and they gave me a lot of hugs. But like I could use more than see, when people have so much money, they don't understand that throwing you a few hundred or a couple hundred or 1,000 when you have that much money or more, money means nothing to them because they have so much. So they don't know what it's like not to be paid because they have estates, I imagine. But I did a gig. Somebody saw me in Nantucket, which I never knew rich Irish people existed until I went to Nantucket. I had no idea that my tribe had money somewhere. But the head of a major hotel company saw me and hired me to go to South Beach for their sales event. He had seen me working for free, hired me, the most money I ever got for a gig in my life, a lot. And I get down there the night before. I want to like take a lay of the land, see what's going on, see what, be a fly on the wall. They're having an outdoor cocktail party. So I put on a nice outfit and kind of just look around and see who looks like, I tell the wait staff, I'm just kind of watching back here. Beautiful. Security guards come up to me. They say, the woman who hired me, the assistant to the owner of this huge, just think the biggest hotel chain in America that's wealthy. She goes, we have to escort you from the premises from this party. I go, what? No, I'm the performer. That's why I don't have a name tag. I'm performing tomorrow. I'm just watch. No, she knows who you are, and she sent us to get you out of here. I was two security guards. So I called my agent, and I said, get me out of here. Tell them to keep their effing money. I don't want any of this. I'm not for sale to be treated like this. I'm not somebody's dog. I'm done. I'm not going to be, but it was a lot of money. He goes, Maureen, you know how much money this is, right? I go, I don't care. Like I have a soul and it's not going to be true. I don't care. I lived this long without them. I'll live another day without them. He sent off an email. How dare you treat her like that? She's a professional. She got there a day early to do her job. There was other way to handle that. It was a proprietary, I guess, business meeting. And I guess they were talking finance. They were drinking and walking around. There was a nice way they could have come and said, listen, this is kind of some inside business stuff that's getting discussed at this cocktail party. I just was looking at hairdos and body language and outfits, And then I have to do the gig the next night. They're like all these very staid, formal people at round tables, like 6 tables. They said they're going to feed me. They put me in a broom closet. Mm-hmm. I was in a broom closet with a broom closet. Like there was a broom and there was me and it was a closet. I called that a broom closet. This is how you get treated. These people, I was like, what's wrong with a broom closet? I hooked up with many people in broom closets.
That broom closet.
Yeah, nice. I'm listening. I'm like, is she bragging? She had a whole broom closet to yourself.
To herself, yeah.
Oh,
I know. I'm so uppity. I'm such an Irish uppity chick.
You're really high and mighty there, Langan.
Oh, you guys, we're hanging with Langan. We're talking hell gigs. Why don't we talk about like?
Did you get the money?
What money? Anybody give me money? Nobody's giving me shit. Oh, the money for the guy? Oh, I thought you meant on my
gig.
Yeah, I did. Because God love Harlan Halper.
For me, that's the moral of the story. I've been through a lot. I'll take that money.
I'll take that. There did come a point though in my college performing days
for your time
where I told my agent, please do not call me for another nooner. I did not have an ounce of my soul left after doing those. They were horrible.
A nooner mean an afternoon, like a gig at
Yes,
noon?
they would. Like college shows are great, when they're at night, like anything else. But nooners were noon in the cafeteria. It's an awful venue. They don't know there's a show. They're having lunch and then studying and then going back to class. And then, hey, this comedy show. It was a nightmare.
Wow.
Nightmare.
And it's not something that's like they're just sitting. They're like it's ongoing. People are eating, leaving, leaving, coming. It's not, it's not like a show.
No, it's like ambience comedy. It's like just in the room. Like
it's like the news after comedy. You're just there,
The stage might as well turn around in a circle.
Oh, I've done those. Those suck too.
No, in a circle? What are you
The
talking about?
comedy in the round where there are people all
Where did
around
you-
you, that's not built for comedy.
I don't like
That's
that.
for
either.
his stripper shows. That's what it's for, Harris. Those
Right.
stripper shows that you like.
Yeah.
I picked the wrong job.
Well, speaking of which, Harris, you were a pro baseball player or got drafted to be a pro player. What happened with you?
I got drafted by the Cubs in 1996 in the rounds, late rounds. But that was it.
What position though?
Right field, first base, mostly right field.
I think that's pretty cool.
That's-
That is
Yeah.
pretty cool. I didn't
Yeah.
get drafted.
No woman has.
I'm just saying but you kind of just toss it out there like, oh, it was nothing.
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago sometimes, you know. But
okay.
yeah,
Because that's a small elite group of men who can say they were drafted.
yeah. My uncle also played Major League Baseball for 9 years.
Wow.
What was his
He
name?
played for Leroy Stanton. He just passed away. Like,
Oh my God! I'm a big baseball
last year.
fan. I remember him.
you remember Leroy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played for the Mets. He was in that Jim
Played with the
Fulgoso
Mets.
trade
Yeah.
to California Angels. Yeah,
Who did he play
Yeah.
for?
Mets and
Mets,
Angels.
California Angels, and
What's the
Seattle.
first? I didn't hear the first one that you said. I'm sorry.
Mets.
Oh, the
New York
Mets.
Mets.
Okay, yeah, I know the Mets. I grew up watching the Mets and the Angels.
Yeah.
Okay, it was just got
Yes.
stepped on. Chip, before you got into this fulfilling career, you worked in corporate America.
Yeah, I told myself I would never have a corporate job. I just wanted to be a writer.
Yeah.
And then my wife got pregnant, and
Yeah, all by yourself. Yes.
and so then I remember going in for a one-day temp assignment at Sony, and I just told him, I said, "Oh, Fred Ambrosio," because that's my real name. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not going to go into the whole Chip thing. I'm only going to be here one day." And I ended up being there for 4 years because they just kept on renewing. And so I was Fred while I was there. And then I got transferred to another department. I switched to Chip. And it was like I had some kind of a psychotic breakdown between the time that I was processing invoices to writing for corporate communications. But I was there. I hated corporate. Corporate was so, you did a couple of corporate things for me, a couple of corporate videos for me.
Thrilled to do them. They paid well. The insurance
Yeah.
companies have money. Only companies in America that have money in the pharmaceuticals. I wish you didn't leave. I could use the money.
Yeah, but the difference between corporate and comedy is like, comedy people will tell you that they hate you right to your face. They'll heckle you. In corporate, they used to call it blue polite, or when I worked at Horizon, because they'd be like, "Oh no, everything's fine," and then you'd find out, like, you'd get your performance review that things were bad, and then they would put you on a performance plan, and then you were looking for a job. You know?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I think corporate is maybe closer to the Hollywood LA experience. Like when they say they love your work, you're going to get fired.
It's over.
yeah.
Hey,
You
Leanne,
agree.
have you only done stand-up or did you have any kind of prior
No,
career?
I was corporate first. I started college with the delusion that I was a finance major. My goal at the time was to work in the pit at the stock
Oh.
exchange. Yeah, I wanted to be that chick. Yeah, that changed after a couple of classes. I was like, oh, economics,
out.
statistics, never mind.
Yeah,
Um,
bye.
Yeah, bye. But I did, when I graduated, I went to work at a multinational financial services firm
Oh, look at you.
in the
Good
corporate communications department.
Yeah.
And it was, I didn't want, well, I knew I had to get a job because I'm like, my parents cannot have spent this money. And I can't tell them 4 years later, hey, I just want to do theater and sing and dance. You know, that was fine in college, but, you know, so I got the real job. And I knew
Sure.
by the second day that I hated it. And I was there for 5 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
That hurts. That
it
hurts.
was the sickest I've ever been in my life. I would call in sick. It was just, I absolutely hated it. Then about 3 years in, I said, oh, nobody's gonna rescue me. It's all me. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I started trying things, discovered stand-up, or I guess maybe rediscovered, being on stage. And then the job became the way to finance what I was doing. So having a job, I loved having a job. I hate it because eventually that's where the money came from.
That's the
So I
whole
was
thing,
working
yeah.
all day, burning the candle at night,
Mhm.
running around the clubs and
Yep.
then, oh yeah.
Well, I was at Bloomberg before I started doing stand-up. I was in a stand-up group in Montclair, New Jersey at the Whole Theater, which is Olympia Dukakis' theater. And then I was a public broadcaster. So I worked for public television, and I liked the outtakes. I was cracking myself up. you know the outtakes that can't go on. You're like, oh, that's funny. And then when I worked for Bloomberg for 7 years and got to do commentary, satirical world news, man on the street, celebrity interviews. And then when they started, for 7 years, I was there and I loved it. Like I got to do what I wanted to do. I actually sat next to him and he was like, go for it, do what you want to do. I know he has other issues. We discussed, Leanne, and I respect that. But I got to creatively do whatever I wanted until he started to run Plant the Seeds for Mayor. And then it was like the focus groups found me too edgy. A few focus groups. So anyway, but here we all are. And here's the deal. I want to hear a great gig because we're talking hell gigs here. But before we go, I want to hear about your best gigs. What about you, Chipper?
Well, actually, I just recently had probably one of my best gigs ever was I opened for Gilbert Gottfried down at the Pensacola Comedy Festival. Well, it was cool because it was a first-time festival, and it was at the Sanger Theater, which was like a 1,200-seat theater, which was pretty close to sold out. And I was talking with you because I'm like, I don't know, sometimes when you get too much into your own head, you know, when you're thinking about your set before you go on, and
Yes.
and so I said, I wish I just had like a gig before the show, right? And what happened is another comic fell out, and they had a small show right across from the theater where it was. And so I got to work out some stuff, and it was just a really great experience. And I'm on stage there, and I'm looking across, and I saw my name on the marquee with Gilbert across the street while I was performing. And what happened is there's 20 people in the front row, and they really liked it. And they said, we're going to come and see you tomorrow. So they bought the front seats in the front row. And when I got off, the set went great. And it was, you were treated like you're saying when you're treated well. When I got my room, it was on the water. I'm like, is this for me or is this for him? Are they making a mistake? And everything was picked up. They gave us a nice gift on the way back. And the show went great afterwards. When I got off, the 20 people that brought the seats from the place next door, they started clapping, say, we love you, Chip. And it was just such a really great experience, you know?
And I remember you were going out of your mind before that. You're like, it's going to be a big theater. I go, they're going to love you. You go out. A theater is so much easier than a comedy club. A theater is so much easier. You got 1,000, 2,000, 25 people, and you just go out with big energy. They want you. If you just go out and welcome them, but I'm so happy you had a great experience.
Yeah, it was great. It wasn't just that it was a big theater. It was just, I don't know, the circumstances around it. But just a quick story is like, they gave us, Jack Daniels was one of the sponsors. So they gave us a little etched thing with our name in it and the name of the festival when we left. And we went with Gilbert to the airport, and we put it in our luggage. And Gilbert has this reputation of being notoriously cheap. So they found it in our bags. They said, you got 3 options: leave it, pay for it, or check your bags. And they said, how much was it to check your bags? And it was like $35 to check the bags. And Gilbert goes, $35 to check the bag? I said, Gilbert, you just made a good amount of money. And he goes, well, now I'm supposed to blow it. So,
oh, wow. Wow, that's a story.
Yeah, but real nice.
Before I get into you guys and we wrap up about your favorite gigs, we're being asked here, what advice would you provide emerging performers to build their portfolio and then feel confident, to work independently? You know, I guess you're talking about, what advice would you give emerging performers who need to build their portfolio? I'm assuming you mean comedy, because that's the only world, that we can talk about. I mean, bottom line for me is all you can do is get up at every little nook, cranny, anywhere you can in front of a mic, find out, just learn who you are behind that, and then find out, then eventually you get to say, that isn't for me. But you got to say everything's for you until you figure out what's not for you.
Oh, yeah. I performed any and everywhere when I started. It's like, is there a microphone? Oh, there isn't a microphone? I don't even care. I'm there. It was, you just haunt rooms. You write constantly. You get up. Because if you write every day, you're a writer. It's not stand-up. You got to get those jokes off the page and on the stage. And you have to do that as often as possible.
Off page, on stage. I like that. That's good.
I find some people don't want to hear what you guys are saying. They just want a phone number they can call to get where you're at already. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to put in the work sometimes. They don't want to be in every nook and cranny, but that's what it takes.
Yeah, people don't get
build
that.
Your portfolio.
your
Right.
portfolio.
Yeah,
Now,
people don't want to do the work.
Whatever that
They
is.
don't. They're like, oh, like I stopped teaching. I used to teach, and like one of the first, how do I get famous? How do I get booked? Can you write a
Yeah.
joke?
Yeah,
how
how
do
do
you
I
get
get booked?
famous?
Maybe you should tell jokes for 3 or 4 years without getting booked, and then
How
you'll get
about
booked.
that? How about that?
Yeah,
Oh, please don't get me started.
I know.
The worst thing is when another comic says, "How did you get that?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because they know that they want you to, like you say, just hand them a number.
I know the best
It
answer
doesn't
for
work
that
that way.
question.
Oh, go
What
ahead.
is it?
My manager booked it
Nice.
Good.
because
Nice.
that takes you out of the equation.
Now,
That's
mind you, none of
nice.
us
Good
have
advice.
managers. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I don't have a manager. I don't have a manager.
Even if
But
you
I
do
mean,
it though,
to me,
it shuts them up.
I almost never
You don't have to
ask
be
for
mean.
True. No, that's true. But I never ask for stuff. To me, the greatest compliment, somebody's telling me about a gig they had, and then they say, Leanne, they'd like you. Do you know what I mean? Let them make the
Exactly.
offer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know too, but as a comic, like if I see you guys are performing at this theater in New Jersey, and I go up and I go, hey, you guys, would you help me? Do you know who books that or who I might be able to connect with? I think if you know each other in the business,
Yeah, that's different.
Like I know you guys. If I had a name
Yeah.
for something that I could help you with, I would certainly do it. But
Right.
we're
So you
colleagues.
know why we know each other? Because we did every nook and cranny for years in
Fair
this
enough.
bubble
Right.
in New York. So
Can
you
I
gotta
please?
establish yourself.
Can I tell you, I had a newbie comic. I didn't even know who it was. Snuck up in my inbox, talk about, I love your work. That's great. But can I open for you? And first of all, I'm flattered that he thinks I'm on that level. I'm not, so I had to explain how the system works. First of all, on the gigs that I'm booked on, the rest of the show's already booked.
Yeah.
Okay. They already have their MC. They already have their feature. And if they don't, I'm going to tend to book someone with me that I know,
Of course.
that I'm
Exactly.
already friends with. So I type out this, what I think is
They
a
have to create
thoughtful
their own
response.
friends and their
Right,
own
but
little area.
and then advise him, like this is how you build, because he didn't even send a link.
Yeah.
He didn't say, Leanne, I worked with this
Right.
person, none of that. And he
Right.
sends me back this snarky response talking about, well, that was a long-winded way of just saying no. Motherfucker, what? Are you serious?
Yeah, I
trying
never
to
heard
help
you say
you.
motherfucker. I've known you 20 years.
I'm just saying. Like, I'm
You just
giving
saying
you,
motherfucker.
but I was heated. I was heated.
I know. I
I'm like,
understand.
Right.
and that's what and then that's I like helping people, but I'm like, if I'm giving you wisdom, I'm telling you how this works, and you're gonna be
God-
snarky.
Yeah.
God bless. Todd Lynn used to always say, new comics will go, they just want the phone number to success. What's that number?
Yeah. I know.
When Dean Edwards book
1-800
started live.
work hard.
Yeah, exactly. You got to
And
put in
even
that work.
then, there's no
Ain't no
guarantee.
shortcut.
I know people with Emmys can't pay their mortgage. Okay,
You got to put in
this
that
ain't
work.
no easy road.
Well, I want to hear, Harris, what did you
And
say
then
that
go,
Dean Edwards say?
Leanne, back to you. Oh, 1 second. Leanne, back to you. They go, can I open for you? But I've never seen you. I can't vouch for you. I've never seen you. And if I have seen you and I haven't told you good set several times, I probably you wouldn't open for me.
Thank you.
You know? They looking for like compliment. Go work hard. It'll work itself out. All that stuff you trying
And
to.
if you honestly, if you haven't been doing this at least 10 years, I don't know who you are.
Exactly.
Well, tell me what Dean Edwards said to you, Harris.
No, it was Todd. He said people.
Oh, Todd Lynn?
Todd Lynn. Yeah. He
Brilliant
said,
comic. Brilliant comic. God rest his soul.
Brilliant and cranky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked him though.
Cantankerous.
I'm so smart.
curmudgeon. But
Yes,
he
he
said,
was curmudgeonly.
yeah. He said people, new comics come up and they, it's like they want the phone number to success. Like, what's the phone number to Saturday Night Live? What's the phone number to David Letterman? What's the phone number? Like, it's not how it works.
Well, somebody emailed me. They were lovely. They were on Facebook. They were seeing that there was a lot of tech issues. She goes, Maureen, I know David Spade is doing shows like this. Maybe you could call his producer and he or she will help you with your Zoom. I go, well, right now I'm waiting on Ellen. If Ellen doesn't get back to me, I'll call David. But people need to, I got to tell you though, when I was up and coming, you don't know how it works, which is why it was great that Leanne took that time. But I reached out to people, say, could I open for you? I was working, I thought that would be a path. You're just trying. You're like, oh, they need to, you don't know how it works.
I don't have a problem with the ask because if you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
What I have a problem is if somebody then offers you or explains how the business works, but that doesn't fit your little worldview because you think you just hot butter and grits, then I don't have time for you.
Hot, okay, I gotta write that down. Hot butter and grits. Hot
And Maureen,
butter and yes.
I've asked people, you know, when I was younger to open up for them, but you have to sort of build some type of relationship with this person. You can't just randomly walk up to some comic and go, "Can I open?" I don't know you. You know,
I don't know you.
when I started opening for Dean and Tracy Morgan, I would see them at the clubs for weeks and months, and they started to know me a little bit. So they go, "Hey, dude, why don't you come on the road with me?" You know, that's how
driving with you for hours is hysterical. It's just hysterical driving for hours with you. I couldn't even and I was in Atlantic City. I'm going to take the bus back to New York. I want to be alone. He's like, he has this new fan. I go, "Where'd you get this car?" He goes, "Oh, I was in an accident. I got this car." But I'm like, "Oh my God, you're insane." God, I mean, I'm glad you're right. But you have a lot of depth to you, Harris. You're a very funny man. But you can talk to you. Being in the car with you cracking up is real. But you have a real depth. You don't judge people. You're very intuitive.
How
toward
can
people.
I sniff shoes and feet.
Exactly. That's what I was going to get to. I was going to get like, come on. No, but it was really nice to do that. Somebody's asking, Dana's asking, would we ever lie to another comic who tanked just to comfort them? Chip, would you?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I've done it a million times.
What do you say?
You know yourself. You know yourself.
And I also haven't done it before, but I've done it over the years a couple times. Oh, you'd be all right. He stunk.
Because the comic himself knows that if it didn't go well, when you have a set,
absolutely,
you know. And I remember back in the day at Stand Up New York, and when around the time that we met, there was one comic, and you knew that it wasn't going to go well. And it was, she would walk up, and we used to say to ourselves, it was like dead comic walking. She was like walking up to the stage, and you just knew that that was going to be like her execution. It would come off, and then she would sit and say, "Well, how did I do?" Like, you know how you did. You know how you did.
So why are you asking? Why are you asking? You don't need to ask. That's like saying, "Was it good for you?" Right. You don't ask these questions.
And I never asked that question. Anyway, but the thing is, what's worse is the comics that think they get laughs when they don't. They have like laugh ears, and they think they're getting laughs, and they come back and like, they loved it. And I'm like, they did? I was maybe in another room. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I was in the bathroom then.
Can you watch me? Can you watch me and tell me what you think?
Oh.
Are you always honest? Leanne, Maureen?
You know what I do? I feel like a comedy mama sometimes. Like, I want to find what that good thing is.
Yeah, and
tell them.
Right, that's it. Find that one line.
You say the bad first or the good first?
The good. To see how they take it. You know, it's like you had great stage presence. I love that joke about.
That's right. You know,
that's right. You got to give somebody something to go on.
Well, you know, I recently had somebody
what if you don't see anything for them to go on? What do you say then?
I bet Harris
I leave.
Talk to Harris Stanton. I bet he could help you more than I. That's what I would say. He's great at giving feedback. Here's Harris's number. Here's the number to success. Here you go. Here we go. But you know what, too, though? I respect comics who are working. I had somebody reach out to me recently who's been at this close to 10 years and said, "Would you look at my tape and give me, and she's a very good writer. I want real feedback, honest." And I go, "All right, if you really want that, I'm going to give you," and it was a good tape and good work, but I'm going to say what, you know, because that person wants it. And if they really want that, from my opinion, my humble world,
yeah,
I'll give that to them out of respect for them saying, "I want honesty." Because
you ever hear you should hear the Keith Robinson and what's her name, Rachel Feinstein story, where back in the day, Keith did the same thing for me. I had did BET the first time, so I sent Keith Robinson my tape to watch, and he, you know, he was honest, and I took it. I didn't get upset, and I tried to work with it. So Rachel Feinstein, I don't know what show she sent him, but she sent him the same thing. Sent him a video too, and Keith was honest, and she ain't talked to Keith for a year.
So funny.
Once again, you cannot ask for feedback if you are not in a position to receive it.
Well, that's it, right?
Yeah.
And people who really want it. And you know those.
Right.
How about when you come off stage? We've all been in the back of Broadway Comedy Club, which I love working there. You get 20 to 30 minutes. Nowhere else do you get that in the city. You know, it's been a good room.
Yeah,
for
I
me
like
to
that.
work
I like
at.
that part about them too.
Yeah. So I've been.
Sometimes
back
you get 25, 30 minutes because something's going on in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, you're in the back room there, and comics will come back into the back room, you know, next to the stacks of water, by the beer, by the little chair, and you know they're coming back, and they just want you to say they had a great set, and you're like, oh, they didn't, you know, you just can't. Like that's when you don't make eye contact. All of a sudden, your phone's
Yeah.
really busy. You know,
I just don't say anything. when somebody likes like that. Yeah.
you can't.
I don't
Alright.
believe in pouring
And
salt
I
in
don't
the
feel
wound.
bad. I had to go through it. It's part of the game.
We all have it. On any given Saturday night, you could have a bad set.
Yep.
And you don't need somebody to tell you. You don't need somebody to rub salt in your wounds. You pick your ego up and you figure out how to fix it.
Mm. Well, you know, I heard I forget who said it to her, but Karen Berggreen was mentioning that she had, it was Vic Henley, again, God rest his soul, he recently passed, a terrific
Yeah, it's
comic.
terrible,
I know,
yeah.
big loss. She said she was
Oh.
doing I know, I had just worked with him recently too. And
Same.
Yeah, I worked with him this last year too.
great guy. We were, so Karen Berggreen was telling a story about him, and she came off a stage, went in the back room, and she goes, oh my God, they like just hated me. This is awful. And he goes, honey, if you can't handle that, get out of the business now. Because that's the business. He was right. If you can't, you gotta, and she's terrific, and she's been at it a long time now.
Where
But
did Chip go?
Chip left us. He hates us. He just had enough. He was like, hot butter and grits, I'm out of here.
I thought I had did something wrong.
Oh, but you know what, you guys, all right.
Hey.
Oh, Chipper, we thought you hated us.
No, what happened? It was a younger comic called me and asked if he could open up for me while we were on the call.
Wow. That's so funny. Somebody texted me and they said, who books this? How do I get on Mo's show?
Exactly.
Hey, I've been getting a lot of emails. All right, you guys, I didn't realize the time. We got to wrap. Chip, I know you are a teacher as well. You do a million things. How do people follow you? What do you want them to know? I know you teach classes in New Jersey. I don't know if you're doing that anymore or still are.
Yeah, well, we're trying to do an online class. So we were doing them on Monday and Wednesday. And, right now, no comics have money. So we're kind of just doing it just as a sense of community. And so we've been doing that. But I started my own podcast, which you were on, and it's called Highlights of My Mediocre Career. And so I have people on, and we go through their career, and then at the end, I ask them for advice on where I went wrong. So you can check that out on YouTube.
And
I love it.
Leanne, how can people follow you, hon?
My website is veryfunnylady.com, but I am also on Twitter and Instagram as Leanne Lord or Very Funny Lady, and on YouTube as Leanne Lord Comedy. And I too have a podcast. I actually have two podcasts, but the one that's close to my heart is called People with Parents. And it's about the role reversal between adult children and their aging parents. Because somewhere along the line, my parents got old and I didn't know what to do. So I channeled my experience through my art, and people seem to dig it, so I'm still doing it.
Very cool.
Yeah. And how about you, Harris Stanton?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at Harris Stanton Comedy on Instagram and Harris Stanton on Facebook. And I have a comedy album I released in the early 2018 into 2017. Naive Innocence. You can get it on all platforms. It's done really well so far. So if you're interested, go check me out.
Night of Innocence?
Naive Innocence.
Naive Innocence. And you guys.
That's my stage name.
It's funny. And that's Chip's drag queen name. What?
I named it that because when I moved to New York from small town South Carolina, I came here and I was naive and innocent, and now I'm all messed up. Bill Burr had a funny story. Bill Burr had a funny story. He said when Harris first moved to New York, he was like, "Oh God, Harris is so cool. He's a great guy." And then years later, Harris did what?
Well, that part I believe. And you guys, listen, those listening, we're going to have Monday, it'll be Jessica Kirson. Tuesday, Bobby Collins. Wednesday, we're going to have some wine with Bernadette Pauly and Al Ducharme. Kelly Carlin the following week. Please support the show. Anything helps. You want to sponsor, you want to send a few pennies. It's molangan@gmail.com. on PayPal, Venmo, it's at Mo Langen. And I do sell these t-shirts at MaureenLangen.com called Don't Make Me Hate You. And I know, Leanne, you also have ones that you promote too.
Oh, no. This isn't mine. It's just Vic DiPotetto sent that to me because he was wearing it and I loved it. And it's just really, really accurate. But if you want to know how to support me, I've written several books. They're all on Amazon. Or you can get hard copies autographed by me and I'll do the death run to the post office to send it to you. And that's a very funny lady. But order it on Amazon, you guys. It's easy.
Right. And please share, let people know about the show and join the Facebook group Hanging with Langen. Until we meet again. Bye. Bye, you guys. I love you guys. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Maureen.
Bye,
Thanks, you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.